some of the most strident criticisms of this administration, this government, the Mahama-led government, by my good friend here, Egyapa. I'm quite sure that nobody is going to arrest Egyapa. Sure. And yet, this morning, it's been in his stride. You know, some of the very, very strident criticisms of the economic policies of government and so on. Why is nobody going to arrest him? Because he has not broken any law. Because he's exercising his fundamental rights as a citizen to speak out against what he perceives to be wrongs in our society and so on. And nobody is going to touch him. True or false? Now, from what I've read in the newspapers, the Bono chairman of the New Patriotic Party got into trouble by accusing a judge of allowing himself to be manipulated and corruption. How does the judge all of a sudden become government? Under normal circumstances, and good for us, on this panel is a very seasoned and respected lawyer, Egyapa. Under the laws of Ghana, there are two types of contempt. And you know that. Contempt in facie cura and contempt ex facie cura. All of them are criminal offenses. You understand?
Right.
The president doesn't have to give an order. Minister of Interior is not involved, and so on. You have made allegations against a sitting judge, called his reputation into question, actually accused him of corruption and manipulation by government and so on. That is the matter. How does government come in here? Master, somebody should be telling me how government comes in here. I'm completely lost. Then the second issue, I'm told, from what I'm reading, has to do with somebody who actually took photographs of the president, I think Felix Ofosu-Kwakye and some others, and doctored the photographs in order to create the impression that they were supporters of LGBTQ something. That's a criminal offense. This is not free speech. Why? You remember what happened in France when there were some allegations against Macron's wife, that she actually was a man and so on. You know how it ended and so on. This is normal everywhere in the world. You know. Of course, if somebody were to order the arrest of Egyapa because of what he has said this morning, I would fight. And I'm sure everybody will fight to defend him because he has not exceeded any bar. He has acted within the law and has only expressed his views as a citizen of Ghana. You understand? Are we saying that free speech means that we can say and do anything and everything? Please.
Okay. Andy.
Interesting. You see, I am not so sure whether the court has issued a warrant, bench warrant of sort for the arrest of Abronye to answer any contempt charges. Because if it were the case, then of course I would agree with you that if the arrest was pursuant to an order of court, then really there's not much that anyone can do than to follow due process. What I'm gathering is that he made comments on his blog. The police have arrested him. If that's the case, then is it pursuant to a complaint that the judge made, or that the police themselves found him to have breached some law for which they then proceeded to arrest him? I don't know. We need to be furnished with the details. But I guess that this is not the first time. And you see, I've always admonished our political actors that we should be mindful the kinds of things that we say, the kinds of things that we do in our politics. Because it will come to bite us someday. Tomorrow, I've had cause to even question why government appointees who are deservedly earning their conditions of service are described as living fat of the public purse and stuff like that. To what end? People who go to work, they ought to be paid. Yet, we do politics with it. So I remember when we were in government, everybody is a thief because you drive a Land Cruiser that the ministry has given you to drive for the performance of your functions. We say all sorts of things. Today, on the other foot, this Baba Mando guy, I'm told that he put up images, AI images.
Let me read this for you. It will help you. So yesterday, an Accra Circuit Court remanded a 37-year-old agricultural officer, Abubakar Yakubu, into custody for allegedly publishing digitally altered images of President John Dramani Mahama and some prominent public officials on Facebook with intent to cause fear and panic. Just as to buttress the point Mr. Kwesi Pratt made earlier. The accused, who pleaded not guilty to the charges, is expected to appear before the court on April 2026, and he's going to be kept behind bars till April 20. Now, presiding over the case of Circuit Court 9, His Honor Joseph Yeneban Konsong ordered the remand after the plea was taken. The prosecution, led by ASP Raymond Akom, is pursuing charges under provisions relating to cyber offences, specifically the publication of false news intended to cause fear and alarm. According to the prosecution, on April 8, 2026, the Greater Accra region, Yakubu allegedly published images of President John Dramani Mahama, Minister of Government Communication Felix Nsukwachi, and Member of Parliament Sam George, which had been digitally altered to depict them with feminine features. The prosecution alleges that the images were shared on Facebook with the intent to create fear and panic among the public. The accused faces 2 counts of publication of false news with intent to cause fear and alarm, contrary to Section 2081 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act 1960 at 29. Now, presenting the facts of the case, Chief Inspector Obed Abuaji Frimpong, the case investigator from the Cyber Intelligence Unit of the Criminal Investigations Department, headquarters in Accra, told the court that the complainants are public officers from the Cyber Intelligence Section. He said that on April 8, 2026, at about 11 p.m., officers conducting routine social media monitoring intercepted a Facebook post from an account identified as Baba Amando. The post allegedly contained the altered images of the 3 public officials, captioned "them and the society." Further investigations led to the identification and subsequent arrest of the accused in Sunyani in the Bono East. So initially I said I'm sincerely apologizing for that. It's actually Sunyani East, not Amenfi East. Sorry. Police say Yakubu was found to be the user and operator of the Facebook account in question. In his caution statement, the accused declined to comment. Following investigations, he was charged and arraigned before the court. The case has been adjourned to April 2026 for further proceedings. Just to help with your analysis, yes.
We live in a strange country here. Look, I don't endorse what Baba Amando is accused of doing. I don't. But we're in this country. Only 3-4 years ago, that Basintali altered Dr. Baumia's picture with a pig, right, in lipstick on social media. You haven't seen it?
I saw that. I saw it.
Was he arrested?
Why didn't you arrest him?
No, I'm asking, was he arrested?
No, he wasn't. But why didn't you? And charge him with same.
But you see, I'm not so sure whether
we can sustain this.
I'm not so sure whether that was the route to go.
Okay.
And that's the route to go now.
But you know it's an offense.
You see?
It doesn't matter whether it's done by an NDC person or an NPP person. It's an offense.
So Sam George is caricatured as a female
Yes.
LGBTQ supporter.
Yes.
And that creates fear and panic,
According to the police.
according to the police. But he created fear and panic when you saw the images.
Well, no, not for me, but hey, but that's what the police thinks.
But so what was the intent behind that publication?
The best first teller is Baba Mando.
Say it again.
The best first teller will be Baba Mando.
The best.
Yes, because he created.
But you see these caricatures all the time. We saw the kinds of things that Lapia did. Caricatured President Akufo-Addo as a chimpanzee.
Oh,
You didn't see them.
but that's,
They're all there on social media.
no, but
They're all there. They're all there.
Master, but that's seriously offensive.
That what he did or what I'm saying.
What if anybody caricatures any human
Nobody.
being as chimpanzee?
Look,
that's seriously offensive.
Moro, you've seen them. I wish your producer, they are so offensive. You don't even want to put them out in the public domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all wrong.
But no, I agree. But the question is, why don't we urge our people to sanitize the political discourse as opposed to arresting them? And if the NDC do it, and I suspect that if they had been arrested at the time, the kind of commentary that would have followed, I'm not sure we would have been able to contain it.
But the law is the law.
But today, no, you see, I agree. The law is the law.
Section 2081
Like
of the
I said,
Criminal and Other Offences Act.
I think that on both sides, we should look. Politics should be a contest of ideas, issue-based. Can disagree on the fundamental issues on how we build our country. Insults, caricaturizing people, and all that. For me, it's not politics. But you know the kinds of things that the young men do on social media. Basintale was hailed as a hero of the NDC. Said all sorts of things. You know how Muslims hold dear this how they disavow
Those social values.
those
I know.
eating of pig and all those kinds of things. The kinds of things that they said. Their views on alcohol. The kinds of things, the kinds of images that they painted about Dr. Bawumia. All to do politics. Nobody was arrested. But today, I will live to see. May I have a difficulty, right? In some of these things, because I don't think that's the way to go. But see, now we can have a spirited debate on issues without insulting anybody.
Yeah, but
And we call ourselves all sorts of names. And if they don't do it under a previous administration, when your supporters were actively doing it without any comment from you, and you come into power and you say you're going to use the law that was not applied to you on your opponent, then you get the kind of feedback that you're getting, that you are weaponizing free speech.
you see,
Okay, can I read some messages?
At what point should we end?
I'm just wondering why anybody would sit down and decide that I'm going to paint the president as a chimpanzee.
I'll find a picture and send it to you.
No, but
I'm sure you've seen
I'm
it.
just wondering why anybody would do that. And I'm just wondering why anybody, would take a photograph of anybody and make him look like a supporter of LGBTQ, and so on. I'm just wondering, what purpose does it serve? You see, of course, my brother Egyapa makes the point that in their era, they didn't prosecute these matters. But it doesn't mean that everybody else should leave those matters. You understand? some people decide to enforce the law, others decide not to enforce the law. Not enforcing the law itself is not in the public interest. So clearly, we have to find a way of ending this matter. Of course, he says that we should appeal to people to stop. We should tell people to stop. Why? The appeals have been made over and over and over again, and the recklessness sometimes is just too much. You understand? Just too much. Look, in the case of the Bono chairman of the New Patriotic Party, I want to hope that he had evidence to back what he said. That the judge is an NDC person, and that when he's sitting on cases, he goes to the NDC for direction and so on. If he can prove that, he will go home. Nobody can jail him. You understand? If he's able to bring up evidence to support the allegations that he made, he'll be a free man. There'll be no problem. You understand? So let justice take its course. Let us go through the normal process. Maybe he has the evidence. Maybe he'll bring the evidence and he'll go home. I just watched the video clip of the minority leader. Did you listen to his words carefully?
I did.
He was full of praise for the police.
Yeah. So they were very professional.
They were professional, they were reasonable, and so on.
Yeah.
Is that how a police state functions? In a police state, the officers of the law are reasonable. They are so. I don't think that's how a police state functions. You understand? So, look, it's in our collective interest to bring some level of decorum to our politics.
Right.
It's in our collective interest. It's in our collective interest to carry on this debate about the present and future of our country on the basis of facts and concrete analysis, rather than on this cheapness, this very